Selamat pagi. Good morning from Malaysia. I am so excited to be here. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you know I was here a couple months ago. I spent a week in Kuala Lumpur and I loved it. But everyone said to me, you know, Malaysia is so much more than Kuala Lumpur. So I have a couple of weeks. I'm going to explore the country. Now, I love the diversity of the people here. Malay, Chinese, Indian. It makes for really interesting food. And so that's what I really want to see in different towns. And today I'm in a UNESCO Heritage Site, one of 4 in Malaysia. And I've actually been here for a week. I'm going to tell you, 1, why I've been here for a week, and 2, why I didn't want to come in the first place. Now, I can't believe there's no one in this shot. I am here by myself. It's not going to last long. That's because Red Square is the most popular place to visit in Malacca. It's usually the start of most tours, especially day tours. You come here, you learn a little bit of Malacca, and you move on. Now, this is Red Square for obvious reasons. Originally, it was built with stone that was a little bit red. Since then, it's been painted this terracotta color. But it does share the story of colonization. So most people think of Malaysia as being British colonized, and that's why they have such lovely English accents here. It's beautiful. But actually here in Malacca, the first invaders were the Portuguese who came from Goa. And then the Dutch, who came for many years from neighboring Indonesia. And then finally the British. And so you can see that a little bit here in the architecture. We have a Portuguese-style church. You have different British-influenced architecture buildings. And of course, this beautiful fountain, which was dedicated to the Queen. And it's actually the story that I saw online of what Malacca was like. And so I thought, oh, Malacca looks a little bit boring. I don't know if I want to go, even for a day trip. Will it even be interesting? This part, yeah, the history is interesting. The location is not. For me, the most interesting part is in town and the story of the food. So we're gonna head for breakfast for one of the most typical breakfasts in Malacca. And I don't think you often get it anywhere else. Now you're probably wondering, how did I spend a week here and we haven't really had any traditional food? That's because we've just been enjoying. So we spent this week just relaxed. We went to a lot of fantastic coffee shops, had great cafe food. There's a sizable Little India here. It's so great. The Indian food in Malaysia is good, and here it's fantastic. So we've been eating a lot of Indian food. We also went to Jonker Street Night Market, and that's one of the reasons I don't recommend coming on the weekends, because Jonker Street was fine. Alan liked it because it was a little bit more relaxed than Kuala Lumpur, but I didn't find that there was anything unique. There was nothing unique to Malacca. It was all the same foods and things that we saw in Kuala Lumpur. I think you should come during the week. Prices are lower. It's much more calm. On the weekends, you cannot get into the cafes or nice restaurants that are very popular here. So come during the week and you can walk right in. Now, one of the most peculiar things about Malacca, or at least the Jonker Street area, is that there are not a lot of spots open early morning before 9 a.m. But fortunately, I found this spot because I wanted to try Malacca chicken rice. Now, this is a dish that I've heard is initially for people who are working, and that's because it's easier to travel. What you have is essentially what the name is. Now, if you've ever ordered dim sum, you will be very familiar in ordering here. So basically, you have just a little piece of paper, you put your order number down, and they bring it out. Everything is kind of a la carte. So we've got steamed chicken. They also serve it roasted, but they told me that steamed is their specialty. It's in soy, and I don't know what else kind of sauce, but in, I think, the traditional Hainanese style chicken. Then we also have some rice balls. You order based on the number that you want. I don't know why I ordered 3, because I'm going to eat a second breakfast today. And then 2 sauces. So one, we have a ginger sauce and then also a fresh chili sauce. I think it's really all about this chicken. That's why it's so popular. Soft, beautiful chicken. I just feel like Chinese chicken, if it's steamed or poached or even boiled and then put in a hot water bath, so tender. And then these rice balls, Very tasty, not just rice. There's something in them. Seasoned very well. Like on the inside, the texture is very smooth. And then on the outside as well. I'm gonna try it in some of this chili sauce. That is spicy. I have to say, this is one of my favorite breakfasts in Malaysia. This is really, really good. I think this place, I don't know a lot about Hainanese chicken or rice balls, but for me, it's really tasty. What a great first breakfast. I cannot express to you how good that was. It was so fresh. And then that chili and the ginger sauces, it just made everything so bright and light. That's a really great spot. You could tell everything was very high quality. And then also I realized in the entrance, there's not a lot of seating, but you can actually walk all the way through and you're outside. So you're in this open air area, which would be really beautiful. I think it's good that I didn't go in the last week because I would have eaten breakfast there every day. What a breakfast. So good. Now, it might be hot out, but that hasn't stopped me from ordering this giant bowl of hot soup. We're having Malacca style laksa, Nyonya Assam laksa. Now, in this area, you can find two different kinds of laksas. One is a coconut curry base, which they offer here as well, but I wanted to try this Assam laksa, Nyonya, because it actually is a little bit more sour. It's spicy and sour, and it has a little bit of tamarind in it. It comes with thick rice noodles, and then it's got a darker color. It's also got some egg in it. I've got this tofu puff. I think this is just simply fried flour, and then you've got some cucumber and other things in it. I wanted to try the broth first, because soups are all about the broth. So fish broth, it's a fish-based broth. You can definitely taste it, but it's not overwhelming. It's spicy, not too spicy, and then it has some tanginess from lime. Now this spot, as you can see, it's a restaurant, but when we went in, we actually ordered from a food stall, and that's where the roots are. Jonker 88 is known as the best place in Malacca to have laksa. So tasty, full of flavor. Just the right amount of heat for me. My lips, they're singed a little bit, but not so hot that I'm not gonna be able to eat anything else today. Spicy. When you just have the broth, it's not spicy, but I took that big fried flour that was so spicy, and now my mouth, yeah, it's spicy.
The soup is rich flavor,
Yeah.
so tasty. This we call asam
Assam.
in Malay.
Sour.
It's sour.
And then do you think it's spicy?
For me, no.
I once said that I had not had anything spicy in Malaysia. I take that back. That laksa, very spicy, so delicious, but very spicy. I'm gonna get some water, and then we're gonna go check out a really unique mosque here that's nothing like I've ever seen. At first I thought it was a temple, but it's actually a mosque. So this was completed mid-1700s, and the architecture of the mosque is Sumatran, but you do see a lot of Hindu influences. So they have a minaret, which resembles a pagoda, and then also you'll see a blend of English and Portuguese glazed tiles, Corinthian columns, symmetrical arches, a Victorian chandelier, and a wooden pulpit with Hindu and Chinese style carvings, and a Moorish cast iron lamppost. So they do have a number of headscarves here that you can use. I will need Alan's help on putting this one on, but lots of options here. Some of them actually are really easy. It's almost like you just put like a hat on, and then some of them are more scarves that you would cover. And then also here for both men and women, because men do need to also be respectful here, no shorts, so you have to cover down to your pants. So there are a number of sarongs, and then also you have things here. So you can come and visit, you're welcome to do so. Don't be intimidated by coming in. Like mosques, I find, are one of the most welcoming places to visit. This is one of the easiest ones, very fashionable, bright pink, because you know I love color. And this is actually easiest because it's like a little cap. All right, I am ready to go. So this mosque looks very different from ones we've been in before, and the architecture is really interesting. As I said, right up here, this is like an English style chandelier. But then also you see a lot of these Chinese engravings and different things. So it definitely reflects a lot of different cultures that have come to Malaysia. So when you come to a mosque and people are praying, the men are on this side, and the women are on this other side of the wall, so you're not distracted, or behind the men.
Yeah, in West Sumatra, from long time ago, we have this carving who always identify with this pattern, starting from the circle, and they make finally like a big wave like that. So when you see these Arabian words, usually they put different words in Arabian. Same like the 99 behavior of Allah. And this part of Arabian word has different words. This pillar maybe from the England or Holland, something like that. Or Romance, I don't know. But this part, this carve is from Indonesia.
Traditional mosque, almost 174800. 200 plus years ago.
Wow.
Very old.
Very old.
Yeah. And only traditional mosque have this one, woods, like Malaysian house.
Yes.
And also Sumatra. So have the cemetery. Died many years ago, 1748, from Aceh, Sumatra, Indonesia.
Yes.
Yeah, you know.
So these are people from Malacca?
Also from Malacca and from Sumatra.
From Aceh?
Yeah, Aceh. Come here, work in the mosque, Masjid, many years ago, 1748.
So the reason why it has so many Sumatran details is because people who built it were from Sumatra.
Yes. They renovate for Assam, Muazzin call to prayer 4 times a day. Before, many years ago, one person man named Muazzin go up there. But just now, go the room, take microphone, call to prayer.
Easy.
Yeah.
Much easier.
Yeah, but this not singing. Every day call, 5 times a day.
She was saying the minaret here, it looks like a pagoda, and it's actually Hindu style. Now, we spent more time in there than expected, but that was the most interesting mosque I've been to in a long time. The border of it was from the 1200s. The inside of it had so many different pieces. It was really beautiful, and also I just have to thank Umu, who is the guide in there. She was so generous with her time, explaining things to me. It was just a really wonderful experience, and I would say that's generally the experience I have when I go to a mosque. People are so welcoming, want to share things with you, but not try to convince you to convert or anything. They just want to share with you the beauty that they have. We're now headed on for some coffee because it's hot and we need a cool drink. One more thing though, don't forget to tip your guide. When you go to spots like this, people are very generous with their time. They do not expect a tip, but in these times where tourism is rebounding, a tip is always welcomed. So we popped into the Daily Fix for a cold coffee. I got the salted gula Malacca. This is not a straw, it's actually a rice straw that you can eat. Although it doesn't taste like much, but kudos to them for not serving plastic. And then gula Malacca is basically brown sugar, but they said it's salted. I don't taste the salted. It just tastes like a really nice coconut palm sugar coffee. All right, so that coffee break, which turned into a whole meal, was fantastic. We've been here before. We came for breakfast. I had a breakfast salad. Ellen had a full English breakfast. It was amazing. The food here also great, the pastries. This is just a really nice treat for us because we almost always eat traditionally. Not only do we prefer traditional food, but it also keeps us on budget as we're always on the road. Next up, because we're full, I think we're going to go on a riverboat ride. The riverboat ride here, very popular on weekends, so many boats. During the week, I think we might not have to wait in line, we can just go right in. This is the Riverwalk. At night here as well. Lots of people are out kind of like on the water. There's a lot of street vendors. It's nice. So I will say this has been fantastic. You know, I think the longer you travel, you think you don't need to take city bus tours or boat tours like this, but we got to see the city from a totally different perspective, and also there's an overhead system, sound system, and so they share with you stories of the city and what the buildings are and what they mean. And I wish we had done this when we first got here. I'm going to remember this from now on. If I see there's a ferry ride or a bus ride or something like that, I'm going to do that the first day to get oriented and then move on. Some people have criticized my videos saying, all I do is eat. That's true. We walk, we eat, we walk, we eat. We don't do a lot of cultural things because for me, culture is food. And so when we go to places and meet people and try traditional food, for me, that's about the modern culture. But Alan said there's this boat here that all of the YouTubers go and see, and it's right here. So I guess we're gonna go see it. I'm doing this for the haters. This boat is for you. It's closed? Oh, it is closed. This spot is from 1521, and you can still see the ruins inside. The ruins have no roof, so I'm not sure how much we'll spend in there. So you can see all this stonework. The ceiling wouldn't have been stone, so that's the only thing that is not intact. And then I'm guessing because it's so old that all of these windows here are for air ventilation. And then up here would have been the altar. You can see all of this detail in the stonework, which still exists. And here I think that's what would have decayed a little bit. I don't know what the term is because, as you know, I don't visit a lot of historic areas, but the plaster that they put on top of the church. So at one point this was probably all white, and then this is now, it just remains. I'm not going to touch it so I don't create any more holes into it. And Malacca surprised me once again, although I'm not surprised because I really do love the city. This city's gonna be tough to beat. I see why Malaysians love it so much. Now, I grew up Catholic, so I'm not always interested in Catholic ruins, but this is actually really fascinating. The area itself is beautiful, shaded, huge trees, and beautiful views of the city. It's only a 9-minute walk uphill, and actually not a hard walk. I thought it was going to be much more difficult. And then you go inside of the church and it's just this shell of what once was. That's kind of interesting. So apparently it's a little bit Portuguese, a little bit Dutch. Alan is able to read Dutch, so he recognized a lot of the words. As an Indonesian, very familiar with Dutch words because they were colonized for so many years. And it's nice. It's also free. So I would say if you come here, this is a nice thing to do. So I think you're gonna like the bottom part of this because they recreated some of the rooms, restored it a little bit. So it's not the original, but I think you can get a better idea of what things were like. So if you're in Malacca, you're going to notice that a lot of things are called famosa, or famous. Well, why is it called that? And it's because of this spot at the bottom of the hill. So this is the only remaining part of the ancient fortress of Malacca, and it was built by Alfonso de Albuquerque, and he named this Famosa. And so that's what this fortress is called. And we have a small piece left. Now, when I say this is a small piece that exists, it's very small. We've just walked in. Follow me as we walk out. That's it. If you want to pose with a cannon, there's one here, and then we've got one here. You can take a great cannon pose. Do you want a cannon pose? Yeah? You want to pose with a cannon? Changing for the better, we decided to rent a motorbike to make use of the rest of the day, and so we went out to see the floating mosque, only to find out that it's closed until the end of December, but it looks gorgeous. So I guess that's another reason to come to Malacca. And then we decided it was time to eat. We're having Assam Pedas, and I want Alan to explain what it is, because it's actually not a Malaysian dish, but an Indonesian dish, specifically from his island Sumatra, and it's famous here.
So it's basically a boiled fish with a lot of ingredient inside. Basic ingredient in West Sumatra, as long as I know, it's like red onion, white onion, turmeric, salad, candice acid, and ginger.
And then what makes it sour?
The candice acid, the thing makes it sour. It's not like general lime. It's not like usual lime, but it's from some kind of, I don't know how to say in Indonesia.
Do you think it's citric acid?
It tastes like citric acid, but it looks brown.
Oh, okay.
Looks brown.
Cool.
It's special acid, special lime in West Sumatra.
A special lime in Sumatra.
Yeah.
Cool. And so Alan just explained a fruit that I've never heard of, asam candice, and he said it's a citrus fruit that is dried. And I looked it up, and it's tamarind. So they use it dried, it adds a sourness, and then also the dark brown adds a rich color to the dish. Not surprising, you get tamarind also in Laksa here, and that must be why they love this dish so much in Malacca, because they're used to that tamarind sour flavor. So it looks like there's a lime leaf in there that would also add to the sourness. Some okra. Now, Alan mentioned that they actually use a different fish here in Indonesia. This is golden snapper, and you can definitely see from the skin or the flesh that it has that golden color. It's called ikan janaha. So in West Sumatra, they actually use a different one, and it's called ikan tenggiri
Or tongkol.
Or tongkol. And then you can see there are just so many spices. You can smell the tomato, like a rich tomato, and then also chilies, which are already burning my nose. Now it's really hot. It's in a clay pot, and then they put it also in like a serving dish. And I've got some napkins under here. It was steaming hot, and I had to wait a second. I mean, it can be spicy, it can be sour, but I don't want to burn my tongue. Oh my God. It's sour. It's not that pedas. It's not that spicy. I was thinking this was going to be so spicy, but it's actually enjoyable level spicy. You have this rich umami from the tomato to the okra. This is delicious. I really love this asam pedas. But what I want to know is, does Alan think it's better here in Malaysia or at home in Indonesia? He's the kind of person that, of course, he's going to prefer his home flavors, but sometimes when we travel, he thinks a dish is better in the place we're traveling. So is this going to be the case?
So in here, the fish is better, more tender, and the sauce is just same in Padang. But yeah, in Padang is different fish and more spicy than that.
It's more spicy.
Yeah.
So Spanish mackerel in Padang, but you like this fish better.
Yeah.
But it's not spicy enough for you.
No.
Interesting.
my Patreon community for more behind the scenes and exclusive content you won't find elsewhere. You can also find me on Instagram, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. All of these things make my day. Thank you so much for your support.